Toads and Diamonds. Once upon a time, there was a widow who had 2 daughters. The widow was known for being disagreeable and proud, and her eldest daughter took after her both in looks and in mannerisms, so there was no living with either of them. The youngest, however, took after her father and was known for her kindness and generosity. The villagers in town praised her as the most beautiful girl they had ever seen. But this angered the widow, whose pride could not stand to be outshone. Well, the widow doted on her eldest daughter, for she reminded her of herself. She treated her youngest daughter poorly, forcing her to cook and clean day and night, and eat her meals alone in the kitchen. Among her daily chores, the youngest girl was tasked with drawing water twice a day from a fountain 2 miles from their home. For her mother preferred the water from the distant fountain more than the water near their home. One day, while she was visiting the fountain, there came to her a poor old woman who begged of her to let her drink. "Oh, of course, grandmother," said the young girl, rinsing her pitcher. She drew water from the clearest part of the fountain and offered it to the old woman, holding the pitcher all the while so that she might drink easier. The old woman, having taken her fill, said to her, "You are so kind, my dear girl, and so mannerly, that I cannot help but give you a gift." For this old woman was not just any woman, she was a fairy, and had taken the form of a poor old woman to test the kindness of those in the country. "I will give you a gift," continued the fairy, "since your words are kind and precious. For every word you speak, there shall come from your mouth either a flower or a jewel." At this, the old woman vanished, leaving the girl with her pitcher. When the youngest daughter came home, her mother scolded her for staying so long at the fountain, saying she would have fainted away had she not returned then. The poor girl apologized wholeheartedly, pouring her mother a glass of the fountain water. However, as she spoke, 2 white roses, 2 perfect pearls, and a gleaming diamond fell from her lips into the water. Astounded by the display, her mother rose to her feet. "What has happened that your lips are raining precious gems, my dear?" she asked, calling her daughter dear for the first time. Her daughter explained what had happened as best she could, and by the time her story had finished, their table was covered with all manners of beautiful flowers and sparkling gems. So her mother became distracted before the end of her tale. The widow, excited at the idea of 2 daughters who could speak precious stones into being, calling over her eldest daughter, "Come, child, wouldn't you like to speak diamonds? All you must do is draw water from the far fountain, and when a poor woman asks you for a drink, you must give it to her." Her daughter scoffed. "Me? Draw water? That is my sister's job. I have far more important things to do than serve you." But her mother would not hear it, and give her their prized silver pitcher, and sent her to the fountain. The eldest daughter was no sooner at the fountain when she saw a beautiful woman, dressed in finery, coming out of the woods. Her gown was made of the finest silks, and her hair shimmered in the sunlight like diamonds. This was the same fairy who had appeared as the old woman, but in a new form, to see how far the eldest daughter's rudeness would go. The fairy had not even opened her mouth to speak, when the eldest thrust the pitcher into the fountain and sloshed the water onto the fairy's dress. "I have far better things to do than serve you from this foul stream. Here, drink from this pitcher, and give me a gift like my sister." The fairy, her cheeks reddening in rage, said, "You are a foul creature, and your words are no better to hear than the chittering of vermin. Since you demand a gift from me, I shall give it to you. For every word you speak, a toad or a snake will fall from your lips to match the disgust of your words." And with that, she vanished, leaving the eldest daughter alone at the fountain. As soon as the widow saw her eldest daughter returning from the fountain, she cried out, "My darling, speak and let your words become the purest rubies."
"I will not speak for you, woman."
The eldest snapped, and 2 vipers fell from her mouth.
"For your youngest daughter told only lies."
2 fat toads fell onto the ground and hopped towards the widow. The widow, enraged to see her favorite daughter cursed with vermin, ran to punish the youngest daughter. But the youngest daughter, hearing the commotion outside of the house, ran through the back door into the woods until she could not find her way out again. "Oh dear," the youngest wailed, and 2 sapphires fell from her lips. "Where am I to go? My mother will surely not let me back inside again, and my dear sister hates me so." As she stood surveying the woods around here, the king's son, on return from a hunting trip, happening to spy the young maiden standing in the woods. "My good maiden," he said, kneeling before her, "pray tell, what causes you to be this deep in the woods, with the sun so soon to set?" The youngest, seeing the kindness in the heart of the prince, responded, "Alas, good sir, my mother has chased me from her home." As she spoke, a single lily with a brilliant topaz at the center floated from her mouth and landed at the feet of the prince. The prince, shocked by this beautiful flower, asked her to tell him what had happened to grant her such a rare gift. She regaled the prince with the story in full, creating a glittering grotto of gems and flowers in the center of the woods. When she had finished her tale, the prince offered her a place to stay at the palace, as he found himself falling in love with her kind personality and gentle manners. Soon, the youngest daughter and the prince were married, and the new princess's kindness became known throughout the land. But the eldest daughter, who had been so cruel, soon filled the widow's house with toads and snakes, so that the widow forbade her daughter to speak unless she could at least pair the vermin with kind words. The end. Thank you for listening, boys and girls. This is from Your Story Fairies. Have a good night. Sweet dreams.